The HOA sent officers to drag me off my own porch. Their badges were shiny, their voices loud, and their threats louder. But at sunrise, they learned something they never expected. I wasn't the man you could corner with a fake badge. The morning air still smelled like cedar from the posts I'd sanded the night before. My father's old flag swayed above the porch, the same flag he raised every Sunday after coffee. I held his chipped mug in my hands, steam drifting through the cool air. I'd just returned home after months of federal disaster response work. I expected overgrown grass, maybe a few HOA notices tucked under the door. But not this. 2 men stepped out from behind my neighbor's hedge like actors missing their cue. One was broad-shouldered with a stiff walk. The other kept rubbing his thumb across a plastic badge like he wasn't sure it belonged to him. Their uniforms didn't match. Their belts didn't match. Even their boots didn't match. "Homeowner," the big one barked, "step off the property. You're being detained for community violations." His voice shook on the last word. A little too much. Behind them, a few neighbors peeked through blinds. The gravel beside my porch crackled as the taller man took a step forward, hand hovering awkwardly over a holster sitting 2 inches too high. "Gentlemen," I said calmly, "identify your agency." The thin one responded. "Subdivision Enforcement Division." I took a slow sip of coffee. Never heard of it. Their eyes flickered. A screen door clicked across the street. My neighbor, Marlene, froze on her steps with her morning paper halfway folded. This wasn't normal. The one with shaky hands tried to recite rights he clearly memorized from a TV show. "You have the right to. You have the right to remain compliant." That wasn't even close. My heartbeat stayed steady. But the old boards beneath my boots creaked as I shifted. "Let me see your identification," I said. Their hesitation was instant. Like I'd asked them a question from a test they skipped, the heavy-set one puffed out his chest. "We don't answer questions from suspects." I let the word hang there. Suspect. On my own porch, before I could reply, footsteps clicked across the walkway. Janice Langford, the HOA president, strutted down the sidewalk wearing heels too fancy for a Tuesday morning and a blazer that looked borrowed from a courtroom drama. "Officers," she said with a smile sharp as barbed wire. "Good work. This homeowner refuses to obey community enforcement." Her jaw tightened when she looked at me. She'd always hated my cedar fence, the same one my father built by hand. "Ma'am," I replied, "what authority are you claiming here?" She waved her hand dismissively. "Neighborhood Protection Statute, Section 12. I had read the entire HOA charter twice. There is no Section 12. Her smile faltered for a blink. The shaky officer placed a hand on my shoulder too soft. The hesitant hand tried to turn me around. That was a mistake. I didn't move an inch. The neighbors were fully outside now, pretending to water plants or walk dogs, but their eyes stayed fixed on us. I kept my voice. "Even remove your hand." The bigger one grabbed his radio, which wasn't even turned on. "Backup incoming." I almost laughed. Almost. But then Janice leaned close and hissed through her teeth. "Do yourself a favor. Leave before we escalate this." The air went still. Even the wind through the cedar posts seemed to pause. "You want to escalate?" I asked. My jacket shifted as I crossed my arms, and a thin glint of gold peeked from the inner pocket, just a corner of my real credentials. Their eyes snapped toward it instantly. "What's that?" The thin one blurted. "A membership card?" I lied casually. He swallowed hard. His Adam's apple jerked like he'd just been told he was alone in a dark room. Janice's eyes sharpened. She sensed something was off, but her pride didn't let her back down. "Officers, take him in."
Oh.
Take him in. To where their plastic car? The bigger man reached for his cuffs. They jingled like cheap keychains. I stepped back once, giving them a clearer look at the credentials peeking from my jacket. Their breath hitched. Tell me, said softly, what academy trained you to? The big man blinked too fast. The thin one readjusted his belt. Again, state level, he muttered. Which state? Silence. Neighbors whispered. A dog barked somewhere down the street. The wind rustled my father's flag overhead, a low, steady flap. Then Janice snapped. Enough games. She shouted. This homeowner is hostile. Arrest him now. The fake cops looked at each other not for orders, but for help. The thin one lunged forward again, hand out, cuffs shaking. When he grabbed my wrist, his thumb landed in the wrong spot, too far from the joint. Palm facing the wrong direction, instinct took over. I corrected his grip in one smooth movement. If you're going to cuff someone, I said calmly, you lock the thumb here, and keep your stance balanced. His face drained of color. Realization hit him like a falling beam. You know procedure? Whispered. Janice froze. Her lips trembled, not fear yet, but confusion. Who exactly are you? She asked. I didn't answer instead. I pulled my wallet halfway out and let the gold flash properly this time. Just a second. Just enough, the bigger man staggered back as if he'd seen a weapon. Is that a badge? He asked, voice cracking. Call it what you want. My porch boards creaked again as I stepped forward, closing the distance. As of this moment, you three are impersonating law enforcement, trespassing, and threatening a homeowner with fabricated authority. Janice's bravado evaporated. You can't be federal, she stammered. You live in a regular house. I lifted my father's mug to my lips. That's the point. For 10 long seconds, nobody spoke. The sun crept a little higher, lighting the ridiculous details of their mismatched uniforms. The cheap stitching, the crooked badges, the belt clips too loose for real duty belts. Finally, the big one whispered to Janice, You said we were allowed to do this, Janice snapped. I said you had community authority. You said we had real powers. You said the neighbors wouldn't question it. You told us we could arrest people. Their argument cracked open like an egg dropped on concrete. I let them bicker. The neighborhood watched silently. Like front row seats to a drama they'd been scared to name. The thin one turned to me, voice small. Sir, are you really? I didn't bother finishing the reveal. I simply raised my phone and tapped a contact-labeled field. Liaison. Their panic hit instantly. The big man lifted both hands like someone had aimed a spotlight at him. Wait, sir, we can explain. Just give us a minute. Janice spun in place, hair whipping. Her voice cracked sharp enough to cut glass. Don't call anyone. This is a misunderstanding. A neighborhood misunderstanding. But the phone was already ringing. A black SUV rolled in 5 minutes later. Quiet, unmarked, efficient. 2 agents stepped out wearing plain jackets, and the kind of boots you only notice if you've worn them before. Agent Lewis greeted me with a nod. Morning. You need assistance? I motioned toward the trio on my lawn. His eyebrows rose once. He understood. Within moments, the 2 fake officers were sitting on my gravel driveway, hands behind their backs, staring at the dirt like it might offer forgiveness. Janice tried to run. She didn't get far, Agent. Lewis intercepted her gently but firmly. Ma'am, you'll need to stay right here, her voice shrilled. This is harassment. I'm an HOA president. Not anymore, he replied. Neighbors filmed openly now. Phones out. Faces relieved. One neighbor whispered finally. Another muttered, I knew those badges looked wrong. Breeze rustled through the cedar posts. The lake behind our street shimmered like nothing bad had ever happened there. Agent. Lewis handled everything with professional calm. The big fake officer whimpered, We thought it was legal. She said it was legal. Janice collapsed onto the edge of my walkway, knees buckling. I didn't know, she muttered. I didn't think anyone would check. Sipped the last of my coffee, you should have. After the SUVs left, the street felt new, lighter, like someone had finally opened a window in a room that had been locked for years. Neighbors came over slowly, asking questions, offering thanks, bringing muffins like peace offerings. I looked at my father's old flag waving steady and thought about the lesson the morning had carved into us. Real authority doesn't shout. Fake authority needs to HOA power only works when people are too tired or too scared to question it. But the moment someone stands steady, asks real questions, and refuses to blink, pretend badges fall apart every time. If you've ever dealt with fake power, bullying neighbors, or HOA threats, share your story below. Someone else might find courage through yours.